Piscataway. Welcome to Let's Be Frank, podcast produced right here in the Piscataway Township School District, where we talk about education, inspiration, and collaboration in our schools. My name is Jeff Celebri, and I'll be your host here on Let's Be Frank. Joining me, as always, the Piscataway Township Schools Superintendent, Dr. Frank Ranelli.
Hey, Jeff, excited to be here. And as this is our third episode, I really want to thank tremendously Chris Novak, who is our media teacher here, and Chris Aravando, who does a really good job of helping produce these podcasts. So thank you very much, guys.
And before we get into it today, I want to also add in a quick thank you to our listeners, making Let's Be Frank a really big success. The feedback has been great, and we've all had a blast putting this together and bringing this to the Piscataway community. Now, right now up on Apple Podcasts, Frank, we still have that 5-star rating. So make sure that our listeners out there, that after you listen to an episode, you give us your feedback and let us know what you think. That feedback is so important as we continue to bring you this podcast. Now, on our last episode, Frank, you continued to develop Frank's 5, right? The 5 core ideals that drive your superintendency. And as you know, each podcast will focus on a different element of Frank's 5, which again are taking care of people, safety and security, culture, technology integration, and curriculum and instruction. Last show, we talked about the importance of safety and security in our Piscataway schools. So if you haven't listened to that one, check it out on Apple Podcasts or on the Let's Be Frank YouTube channel. Today's topic, culture, is something that you are constantly talking about with administrators, teachers, students, and families. Can you explain what culture in a school district means to you?
Yeah, culture is very similar to the themes that we talked about in our podcast, Taking Care of People. It's basically how you feel when you walk in a building, the way we do things, the expectations that we have, the goals that we set for ourselves, how we follow through with things, the consistency of the work that we do in our efforts. Culture can be how flexible we are. Culture could be how fun we make things, but also the seriousness of the task at hand.
So why is it important to think about and focus on and constantly or continuously develop a culture for a district?
I think one important aspect of a successful organization, whatever it may be, is an understanding of consistency. And as I said before, how we do things, right? The expectations that we have. And if staff feel comfortable, and you're going to hear a theme of all of these things as we talk about some questions and comments here, but if staff feels comforted and valued in what they do, they're going to give great efforts in what they do. If students feel safe and comfortable and understand the consistency of what we expect, the culture in a building speaks to everything that we do. And as you expand it to a district, you'll find that there should be some themes that cross over buildings, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later.
Hey, what you're touching on there, the connection between a school culture and a district culture, right? So how are those two things different, but also how do they complement each other?
Sure. So a district culture is more of an umbrella theme. Like we have our Inspire theme that's been very successful over the years. And basically, we want every building, this is a perfect example, we want every building and every student to interpret that their own way and understand that they can inspire people in their everyday lives and everything that they do. So a district's responsibility is really to set that tone and really to set the theme of the understanding. The leadership of a district and the understanding of the consistency of how we do things. All of the plans that we have should point back to the goals that we have in taking care of people, but also the goals that we have for academic success. And an understanding, again, from the leadership that we're not going to run the buildings, right? We have expectations, right, and every building has its own culture.
So when we're talking about a school's culture, who better to hear about it from than the students themselves? So we're going to hear a few clips throughout the show from the students themselves here in Piscataway, and they're going to talk about the culture in their buildings. And we're going to start off with a clip from Piscataway High School student Skylar Tortajada. And Skylar, here at the high school, hosts her own podcast called Everything Wrong with the World, which can be found on the P-Way TV YouTube channel. In this clip, she's going to talk about her views on the culture of Piscataway High School.
I think culture in school, especially our school specifically, is a lot like it. It feels like the mixing of different cultures. Basically, the essence of culture in Piscataway is the mixture of the different cultures of everyone who's here, because we have so many nations represented in our school, our student body, that we're introduced to all these different things. And I think here in Piscataway, we really mastered kind of going towards that analogy of the salad bowl rather than the melting pot, where we have a large group of many different nationalities and national cultures, and none of them are diluted by others. They're all present and they're all prevalent, and we can all learn about them each day. When I walk into Piscataway High School, I get a feeling of, again, kind of the mixture, moving towards mutual acceptance, where it's like no matter who you are or what you believe in, you're going to find other people with those same core values and core beliefs, because there's so many different groups of people here.
So what struck me is part of her conversation, and the last part was the core values. And that's what culture is, right? It's the values that we have and how we approach whatever task at hand, how we approach our presence in the classroom, how we approach our presence on an athletic field or in an extracurricular activity, how we approach walking into the building, right? What are our core values and what do we stand behind? Do we purposefully not throw garbage on the floor, right? Because we have that pride in our building, right? Do we have that pride in everything that we do? So I think her comments were right on.
And a value that I know that you have here for Piscataway, part of your vision is one of empowerment. How does school culture support and empower students and staff?
So the word support is huge there, right? How do we support that? And I think by clear communication, right? Communication and consistency are key to me when I work with or for people. I think if those understandings are there and it's consistent and it's not different from one day or 1 week to another, I think that empowers an understanding, number one. Also, I think a strong culture empowers a student and staff voice, a democratic understanding that we have a stake in this game and our opinions matter. And we, like I said in multiple times in the Taking Care of People podcast, we are valued in where we are in our environment, and we can bring a great increased value to everything that we do.
And what about parents and the community at large? How can they support the school and the district culture?
Yeah, I think getting involved is a huge thing in every positive way. Discussing what happens in school with their children, right? Interacting with their teachers and their coaches, and really trying to understand how and what they're learning, not only academically, but also when we talk about culture and environment and things like that, and really support of the school goals and the district goals.
And when we as a district bring in new teachers, how does the district ensure that those who are coming in as new teachers are going to thrive in our culture?
Sure. We feel we have a very rigorous process to get hired in Piscataway. And the important part here that we look for at all levels, I think a candidate might have 4 interviews by the time we say, okay, well, welcome to Piscataway, before we put them before the Board of Education. But I really feel, on top of mastery of content and understanding the curricula and things like that, we look for people who will motivate and inspire kids, who have that ability to have a relationship, to really understand that all kids are different, and what it would take to motivate one student is not always what it would take to motivate another.
Thanks, Frank. I also want to just real quick put out another plug for Skylar's podcast. Make sure you check it out up on PUA TV's YouTube channel. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at some listener questions. We're going to have a few guests in studio, and then coming up later, we're going to play a game, have some fun. So stay tuned.
This is Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Frank Ranelli. We have so many important people that serve our community. This month, I'd like to highlight and thank our district nursing staff for all they do to make our district great. Like so much in the medical field, school nursing has changed dramatically in a generation. While parents still get that call, their child's sick or will remain safe under the nurse's care until they can pick them up, our school nurses now take a very proactive role in disease prevention, health accommodations, and safety. In a district as large as ours, caring for over 7,000 students from many different backgrounds, ethnicities, and socioeconomic statuses calls for monitoring more than just student records. Led by Dr. Debbie Dawson, Supervisor of K-8 Counseling and Health Services, our school nurses, all of whom are certified nurses, take a proactive approach to keep our school community safe and healthy. Our nurses are the heart of our schools. We thank them for their dedication to our students and their unwavering commitment to the health of all the members of the school community. Please join me in thanking our nurses for all their hard work and dedication. We are so grateful for the contributions they make to our district.
Welcome back to Let's Be Frank, our Piscataway Superintendent's podcast. Now, right now, we are joined in studio by the principal of Martin Luther King Intermediate School, Dr. Alex Gray, and the principal of Quibbletown Middle School, Mr. William Gonzalez. They're here to weigh in on some of our listener questions and give us a glimpse into the development of school culture in their buildings. Guys, how you doing?
Great, man. Glad to be here.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having us.
So I'm hoping that you can share a story that speaks to the cultures of your buildings, but also the process of developing that culture and how you continue to develop that culture over time. Alex?
Thank you, Jeff. I love telling stories. I think I'm a storyteller at heart, so I love being able to share information, particularly about a place that I love, in a district that I love, Piscataway and Martin Luther King School. One thing I try to do with my families is to connect with them by telling them stories about my journey currently and my wife's journey as parents, and trying to relate to what they're going through as parents, some of their challenges and struggles and things that are important to them. And as I was listening to Dr. Ranelli, two words resonated with me from Dr. Ranelli. One was consistency and the other was communication. When I took over at Martin Luther King School, my goal was not to completely redo everything and reinvent the wheel, but it was to take my time to understand the culture and to find my place as a leader, a new leader of Martin Luther King School. And as a parent, I know that I want my principles of my children to be consistent and to communicate clearly. And so as I thought about how I could apply that as a principal of Martin Luther King School, I developed what I call the Sunday Snapshot. And for those who have heard, the Sunday Snapshot is something that I put together every week for my families and for my staff. And for my families, the Sunday Snapshot airs every Sunday evening at 6 o'clock. A message from me, not a computer or some type of recording, but my voice is sent out to each of my families. And I simply go through what's taking place for that week. If it's a day that we're having assembly, if it's picture day, if we have a half day, no matter what's going on that week, I give our families an overview so they know how to prepare and how to interact with their children to be prepared for that week. And on that Friday, I also share that we have a Spirit Day every Friday, and I share what that Spirit Day is. And it's been amazing over the years. Some of the greatest stories I've had, as now that I've been here 6 years, are when I run into families who have gone through King School. And one of the first things they tell me is, Dr. Gray, I miss your Sunday Snapshot. And so even though it's, often hard to do every week and to find time away from my own family to put together the Sunday Snapshot and to record it, every time I hear from families who have gone through our school and talk about how much they miss hearing that, how much it helped them, how much they enjoyed being able to prepare. Some of them even say they put the cell phone in the middle of the kitchen table at 6 o'clock on Sunday evenings, and they listen as a family. And those stories help encourage me and help me understand how important that consistency and that communication is. In addition to the Sunday Snapshot for my families, I have a Sunday Snapshot that I send to the staff as well, because consistency with staff is also important. So every Sunday evening, I don't do a voice message, but every Sunday evening I send out an email with what's going on that week, so my staff knows whose class it is to do the pledge that week, whose lesson plans are due, if it's a faculty meeting week or a PLC week, what assemblies we have, just anything that they need to know, what deadlines are coming up, so that in addition to my families and students being able to be prepared every week, my staff is also prepared to face the week. And so consistency in that communication has meant so much, and I think it's really contributed to a positive school culture that I've tried to foster at MLK School.
And so for you, that building those connections is what kind of fuels that culture in your building.
Yes, definitely. Making that connection that I'm a parent as well. My wife and I both are working, and so we understand how important it is to have information, have it communicated consistently and clearly, and just given in a way that as a family you can prepare each week to help your children be the best that they can be at school.
Bill, over at Quibbletown Middle School, I know you have some different aspects of how you build your culture. Hoping you could share about that.
Yeah, certainly. First, I want to tell you, I love getting the kids from Shore and MLK. The kids come in talking so well about their principles and all the things that they're doing, and families come in, and that sets high expectations for Quibbletown. I'm sure the other middle schools as well. So there's a number of things. As I'm sitting here listening to Dr. Gray and Dr. Ranelli, we spend a lot of time really building that network of relationships with kids. For me, like all of you, it's about trust and developing that trust with students so they can be a part of all the things that are going on at Quibbletown. Now, some of the things, certainly I do the Sunday message for families, and I follow Dr. Gray's footsteps there, and they love getting that message. We do a focus for staff on Monday mornings to then let them know, hey, these are the events that are going on for the week as well. So there's a number of ways that we communicate with staff and families. Some of the things we'd love to see at Quibbletown, we have PBIS, the Positive Behavior Support. It's done a lot of wonderful things for our students, our staff, and for our families. This year, for the first time, we did a 6th grade orientation before school started. Teachers came in and they met families, 6th grade families, incoming families, and we had over 125 kids there and families, and we had some food for them. I gave them a tour of the building. It's a great way to start to network and build those relationships. We continue that. We have a kickoff for PBIS. We do a number of different activities. Just the other day, we had a door decorating contest, right, for the building about respect and hope and love and all those kinds of things that kids were able to share that experience with their staff. Share that experience with their teachers, right? We had a contest, certainly, in the building, and the kids were excited about that. But what was really exciting was that, the kids were able to spend some time with their teachers, not on content, not on doing their homework and those kinds of things, but in a different way. Really spend some time researching the quotes they wanted to put on the door, how they wanted to design the door, really building those relationships. I was, lucky enough to get some 6th graders to decorate my door. And one of the quotes that we have on my door says, "You cannot shake hands with a clenched fist." And that's a quote from Indira Gandhi. So those are the kinds of things that the 6th grade kids came up with. That's an amazing thing. That tells us about the culture of the kids, things that are going on in the building. Certainly we continue to support that message. The message that we get from certainly Dr. Ranelli and our board and throughout the district of hope and connecting with community and family.
Now, when I am in Quibbletown Middle School, I see the phrase "Stay Gold" on the walls or on windows. Maybe you could talk a little bit about what that means.
Yeah, certainly. That's our brand. We've been working on that for several years. We continue to develop it and look at it again. And are we meeting the needs of our kids and our families and our community? The goal is, gaining empathy, right? Learning through our experiences, certainly, and taking ownership and displaying kindness. Certainly, there's a number of things that we do throughout the year that really supports that idea. Families have bought in my message every week on Sunday, it ends with "Stay Gold." That's part of what we're asking them to do.
It's fantastic. So we have a few listener questions, and Alex and Bill, maybe you could weigh in on some of these questions as well. Now, if you'd like to get involved with the show and submit a question for Frank, send us an email at letsbefrank@pway.org. That's letsbefrank@pway.org. Not all of the questions that are submitted will be answered here on the podcast, but we'll do our best to feature a few questions each show that relate to our topic. Our first question came in from one of our teachers here in Piscataway, and the question reads, each generation is supposed to be better off than the previous one, and the only way to do that is through outstanding education each and every day, but also with consistent support at home as well. How do we give our students as much as we can to be the best versions of themselves when they sometimes don't get that same support when they go home? And how do we do that without putting too much on ourselves in the process?
So I feel very strongly, and we talked about the hiring process before, and we want to look for people who can motivate and move people. Believing in students, believing in the people who walk in your room is probably the number one thing you could do to help them achieve their goals. Have expectations for them that maybe they don't even understand that they could achieve. As Bill said before, and Alex, building that relationship between the staff in a building and students, giving students choice, understanding their value, what they could do, as we said before, really allowing the students to have opportunity that they might not think they could achieve. So, for example, I know Alex in his building really made a big push to get students to move into a higher level of class, math and literacy, when they might not have felt, or the parents might not have felt, that they could achieve there. And if you have the right staff members in class really motivating and moving those students, they could achieve anything. And really, again, it goes back to believing in them. Another huge part of it is celebrating the little steps that we all have, staff and students. It can't just be, okay, well, let's work, and then at the end of the year we'll have a celebration. No, you celebrate the steps along the way. But I think also appropriate challenges and high expectations are huge. And when we talk about the staff, I think it's much of the same thing, right? I really feel that relationship that they have with each other, an atmosphere of family, and really staff wellness in our district is taken very, very seriously. We have a wellness committee that we really try to make sure staff understands how to take care of themselves.
And like you said earlier, that speaks to the connection between culture and taking care of people, and how all of Frank's 5 are interconnected.
Absolutely. And anybody who's worked closely with me can understand that I'm a pretty humble person. I don't really like a lot of attention on me, right? And I think that in all of our buildings, whether you're a leader of a classroom, a building, or the district, or a department, that vulnerability that you have as a person, right? That you could not take yourself too seriously and laugh at yourself, or ask for help. I think that's a huge part of a culture, that nobody feels that they're too big or too big for whatever event's going on.
Alex, Bill, thoughts on this question?
Yeah, at my opening back to school night, I start out with a picture of my 2 children, Bryce and Arden. And I do that because I convey to the parents that these are my 2 children and I want the best for them. But just as I want the best for Bryce and Arden, I want the best for their children as well. And I let them know that not only myself, but our entire staff is committed to giving their children the same love, the same attention, the same discipline, the same high standards as we do our own children. And I think that is the best way that we can not only let parents know that we care about their children and want the best for them, but actually living it out each and every day with their children. We can't always control what goes on in the individual households, but we can, every day that we're with children, between the hours at King School, between 7:45 and 2:20, we can completely control the standards that we set, the lessons that we teach them, the care that we give, the commitment, the dedication. We can completely control that, and we have to be in control of that, and we have to give our best each and every day to each and every child. And by doing that, I believe that we're going to be able to make sure that even in households that children may not be getting everything that they need to get, we're going to help make up for it by what we do each and every day in our schools as educators.
Yeah, at Quib and like many other schools, try to provide that support certainly for students who are and families that are struggling. Getting to know your kids, getting to know your families at every chance you can as a principal, as a staff, is so very important. I had a conversation with a parent just last week where I was helping them out through a situation, and the parent said to me, Mr. Gonzalez, said, "I trust what you're doing." I said, "Oh, thank you. I appreciate that." He goes, "Yeah, I had an interaction with you about 12 years ago. You were helping my son out with something, and you checked in on him, and that meant a lot to me at that time." So every interaction we have, it can mean so much somewhere down the road. Whether it's the messages on Sunday, certainly being consistent with that, because if you miss a weekend, they're calling you, "Hey, what happened? I didn't get the message," right? So all of those interactions, everything that we do all the time, being consistent, as we mentioned several times on the show today, all of that is so very important. We have there's an anecdote. We're talking about things going on. In middle school we have the 3 grade levels, and but the kids are really more than 3 grade levels apart. You got some kids that are still looking to mature a bit, and some kids certainly they look like they could be in high school already, right? Looking that way and acting that way. So we got a couple of 6th grade kids right now. They like playing with and working with and doing some imagination with Legos. And so, as our counselors do, they have clubs, they have lunch meetings, they have clubs during the day or after school. So we invited these kids to come down at lunchtime so they can do these things with Legos with their classmates, right? Something they couldn't do because they don't live near one another. And then there was one student that kind of felt left out, and we found out about it. He doesn't have Legos, but he's got a transformer. So he was invited into the group, and the kids accepted him in the group. And now you'll see, during the week, once a week, kids are down there in the counseling office and spending some time together, creating those relationships.
That's great.
Yeah.
Our next question comes in from an elementary school parent in our district, and the question says, "I know that the culture of the school building has a huge impact on every child and the educational and social experience that they have every day. I have seen a very welcoming school culture at my son's school. Every building has different and diverse needs. I am wondering what supports the district has in place to help each school to build a positive culture and environment for learning that meets the specific needs for each school's population."
So, Jeff, we touched on this a little bit before, and I think the district's responsibility, or the leadership of the district, the central office responsibility, and the supervisors who travel between the buildings, is to give the schools a direction, is to understand that each building is different, and we can't create a program or a way of doing something and then expect it to just drop it in 3 different middle schools and it be the same in all 3. Right? We have to understand that the building principals, we've chosen them and trusted them to run their buildings the way we think that they should, or that they can, but we're not going to micromanage and really be on top of them about, no, you have to do something this specific way. So I think, as we talked about before, creating an overall umbrella of support, a direction, a theme, whether it be the Inspire theme or the Taking Care of People theme or the High Expectations theme. There are many different ones, but they're all consistent that point to the goals that we have set by the Board of Education. So I think, again, allowing the school leaders to make their decisions however they do it. And I know in their buildings, they look to the staff to make decisions as well. They include them, and that builds that collegiality and trust in the building. And I know that all of the staff members in the buildings have voices in decisions, and things are clearly communicated, as we spoke before, and they're consistently run. So that's where I feel the value of the district in that equation comes.
And it speaks to a lot of trust that as a core value as part of our culture. So remember, if you have a question out there that you want to submit to our show, send it in through email to letsbefrank@pway.org, letsbefrank@pway.org. Our next episode, we're going to talk about technology integration. So send in questions to letsbefrank@pway.org and tune in to see if your question will be featured. Now, before we go into our next break, we wanted to share another student clip of students discussing the culture of their buildings. We're going to hear from middle schoolers Brooke Shaw and Yash Patel, and from an elementary student, Armand Puar.
I think school culture is about how people want to learn and what they like to learn about. And so what really matters is how people take out their interests in their school and how what they're learning makes them feel. When I walk into Shore, it definitely feels like a safe place. Like there's so many different things and people. I could go to art if I want to. I could go to music and pursue different interests.
What I feel about school culture is it's a place where people can learn. It's a place which gives people opportunities, such as they could go into the math field, the science field, the social studies field, or they could even learn music. It's just a place where people have so much freedom. It's a place where people can be free.
Whenever I walk into the school building, I feel like really excited because I know that today I'm going to learn a lot of stuff that I'm going to need every day in my future. And school culture, I think that's important that we show our pride to school because not many people are able to go to school every day and learn stuff. So I think that we should really be thankful for it.
One of the things the students said in that clip was that school is a place where you can be free. What are your thoughts on this?
I definitely agree that being in Piscataway, we offer our students so many opportunities, and just hearing the students speak, it really touched on all those opportunities, regardless of what our needs are, regardless of our backgrounds, our interests, that we seek to consistently provide opportunities and avenues to make our students know that their current education is connected to their future, but also help them enjoy just coming to school each and every day, which doesn't happen in every district. So I'm very proud of that.
What I like about the responses of the students, as well as the responses from Alex and Bill here, they are consistent with what we believe in and with what our district is all about. Taking care of the needs of all the kids and the staff members, and really setting high expectations and stretching the potential of every student at every level.
Yeah, so I'm really excited always to come to P-Way and the support that we get from the district level. Just at Quibbleton alone over these last couple of years, with the direction from central office, they talk about, hey, let's challenge the students. So we're able to put in some of these really upper level courses, if you want to say it that way, or a pathways type course, as we call it in middle school. We're able to do that in Spanish. Just recently we put in the jazz band, so that's another offering. We've done that with this year for the first time with art students, because we do have the academy. So the ability to go ahead and they say, hey, you got this idea, let's put these courses in, let's challenge these kids, and we're supported and we feel supported, is outstanding. So teachers love that. The students certainly love it, and the families love it.
One of the things we talk about when we mention culture is how we deliver instruction, and the importance of the schedule even that we have, the most basic thing that we have. And we were able to address both the middle school and the high school schedule in the past 3 years, where 2 years ago we changed the middle school schedule to show value in the things that we feel very strongly that is a big part of our culture. And then next year we'll be addressing the high school schedule to bring, again, value to the culture that we have. And again, the feeling that how we deliver instruction is just important as the instruction we deliver is a big part of our culture.
Alex and Bill, I want to thank you guys for coming in and sharing your stories with us and your ideas and thoughts about the culture, not only in your buildings, but in our district. Now, don't go away, guys, because coming up after the break, we're going to play a game, and I really want you to stay and be a part of it. We're going to have some fun, so stay tuned.
The PHS Drama Club proudly presents their winter musical, 9 to 5, on March 5th, 6th, and 7th at 7 p.m. in the PHS PAC. 9 to 5 the musical, with music and lyrics by Dolly Parton and book by Patricia Resnick, is based on the 1980 hit movie. Set in the late 1970s, this hilarious story of friendship and revenge in the Rolodex era is outrageous, thought-provoking, and even a little romantic. 3 unlikely friends take control of their office and learn there is nothing they can't do, even in a man's world. Purchase your tickets online at phs.booktix.com. That's phs.booktix.com. You don't want to miss this.
Get your running shoes ready. The P-Way 5K takes place on Sunday, April 26th with a 9 a.m. start time. Adult tickets are now offered at the sale price of $25, but only until March 6th. After March 6th, adult pricing is $30. Student pricing is set at $12. Order your tickets online at Community Pass early and guarantee receiving a commemorative T-shirt. All proceeds go towards a very good cause, supporting Project Graduation, an alcohol-free night of fun and friendship for our graduating seniors.
Come on out to P-Way Reads on Wednesday, April 8th at Piscataway High School. Registration opens at 5:30 p.m. and the event kicks off in the Performing Arts Center at 6:30 with the amazing Story Pirates. The Story Pirates aren't your typical swashbuckling sailors. They don't steal gold, wear eye patches, or claim land. They're searching for a different kind of treasure. Kids' wildest, most imaginative stories. The Story Pirates have been celebrating the words and ideas of kids since 2004, and we are so excited to have them join us for P-Way Reads. Come on out and celebrate the power of reading with all of us.
Welcome back to Let's Be Frank, our Piscataway Superintendent's podcast. This is the part of the show where we shift gears a little bit and have some fun. Now, in our first 2 episodes, we played some games to get to know Frank a little bit better. But on this show, we're going to change it up a little bit. Frank, did you know that a U.S. News report that ranked all 50 states in the U.S. by their pre-K to 12 public education systems placed New Jersey as one of the highest-ranked states, consistently ranking in the top 2?
Yeah, it's an honor to be an educator in New Jersey for the past 25 years, and I work with some great people, so I'm not surprised at that.
So in honor of this, I thought we would find out just how well you know the Garden State with a game of New Jersey trivia. I'm going to put your knowledge, and also Alex and Bill, who are still with us in studio, to the test with 3 quick rounds of trivia all about New Jersey. Now, Frank, you born and raised in the Garden State?
I am.
Alex, Bill?
I am.
Yep.
So we got 4 Jersey boys right here with microphones. We might start harmonizing any minute now. Look out. So here's how this is going to work. I'm going to present a question to Frank. He'll have a chance to answer it. If he gets it right, that's a point for Frank. If he answers incorrectly, we'll pass the question down the line to Alex to steal. If Alex doesn't come up with the correct answer, it will move on to Bill. There will be 3 questions per round, so Frank, Alex, and Bill, you'll each have a chance to start with your own question. Ready?
What do we win, Jeff?
You win some fabulous Piscataway prizes provided by the Board of Ed, I think. Is that correct?
That was good, Jeff.
We'll see. We'll have to discuss that after the show. Here we go. First round is New Jersey history. Frank, this one is for you. On July 11th, 1804, a famous duel took place between 2 American Revolution-era icons in Weehawken, New Jersey. Who were the 2 men involved in the duel?
It's a great question. Chris Iravando is trying to help me. Aaron
No
Burr?
lifelines.
I don't know, Jeff.
All right, so we'll just say that is incorrect, and we'll pass it on to Alex. The 2 men involved in this duel. Talk it out. What do you think?
My kids love listening to the Hamilton soundtrack. So I'm sure that one of those songs has provided me with the answer.
I didn't know we'd be harmonizing this quickly. Sing it out, maybe.
I don't know if it's Not Throwing Away My Shot. Aaron Burr, sir. Somewhere in there. I don't know the exact. I'll say Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton.
That is correct.
So if you roll back the tape a little bit, I did say Aaron Burr.
Yes, so there was a little bit of help there. A little bit of help there. No half points, unfortunately, on this exam. So that's a steal for Alex. He has a point, and he gets to start this second question. So, Alex, this question comes to you.
All right.
The first submarine, which was designed by John Holland in 1878, was tested right here in New Jersey. Interesting, the first design for this submarine had the seats on the outside. That was a quick redesign in the engineering design process.
Real quick.
But what river was the site of the first submarine ride? What river in New Jersey was the site of the first submarine ride?
What river? I'm going to go local. I'm going to go local and say the Raritan River.
Raritan River, that is incorrect. Bill?
I'm going to throw out the Delaware.
The Delaware River, that is also incorrect. Frank? I need you to come up with another river in New Jersey for a shot at this one.
I would have said the Delaware as well. How about the Hudson River?
How about the Hudson River? Unfortunately, that is also incorrect. The correct answer is the Passaic River.
Passaic.
The Passaic River, of course.
Okay.
The Passaic River. Perfect site for a submarine ride. Bill, you get this question. While Grover Cleveland is the only U.S. president to have been born in New Jersey, he actually spent much of his life in New York State, serving as the mayor of Buffalo and the governor of New York before his term as president. However, there is one former New Jersey governor who went on to serve as president of the U.S. Who was he?
Woodrow Wilson?
That is correct. So right now, at the end of round one, Alex with 1 point, Bill with 1 point, and our leader here, Frank.
It's all right. Talked about my vulnerability, you know.
That's
I
only
was
one
not a
round.
history teacher, Bill. Sorry.
That's all right.
You know, it's only one round. We have 2 rounds to go, and we're going to shift the category away from history. Maybe you'll have better luck with this one. New Jersey pop culture. How do you feel?
All right, we'll see.
A little bit better? All right. Question one's coming to Frank.
My answer is Bruce Springsteen.
That is incorrect, but you could really never go wrong with the boss. Your question. The TV show Cake Boss features the family-owned business Carlo's Bakery of New Jersey native Buddy Valastro, located in what New Jersey town?
Hoboken.
That's correct. Ties up the game, 1 point apiece. Moving on down to Alex. While comic books and movies typically depict this fictional city as having a look and atmosphere like New York City, it is actually, according to comic book geography, located here in New Jersey. According to DC Comics canon, this Caped Crusader was born and raised in that fictional town, making him a New Jersey native. Who is this superhero?
I will say Batman.
Now, I couldn't give away the name of the city because I felt that would be too obvious, of Gotham City, and you are correct. It is Batman. Bill?
Come on, Bill. 2
All
right.
right, I'm
That's
here,
good.
man.
You ready for this one?
I had both those answers, by the way.
Maybe we can make it a clean sweep of pop culture
Yeah, here we
with
go.
your question. And like Frank had mentioned, New Jersey pop culture would not be complete without a question about Bruce Springsteen. So Bruce Springsteen's famous E Street Band is well known for their history of playing shows at the Stone Pony in Asbury Park. But the Bosses band got their name from a real E Street in a different New Jersey shore town. Which one is it?
I'm going to say his hometown of Freehold.
Freehold, where actually I live in Freehold, bro, around the corner from Bruce's childhood home, and that is
It's not really
Correct.
a short town, I understand.
not
but-
really a shore town, yeah.
Yeah.
But we're close. We're on the way. So this one now gets passed on to Frank. Frank, and this is your chance to tie it up with Alex.
I'm going to go with the shore towns and say Seaside Heights.
Seaside Heights is also incorrect. Alex, your chance for a commanding 3-1 lead.
Springsteen is a little bit before my time.
But he's also timeless.
Hey, what are you
Yes,
trying
he
to
is
say?
time-
man? What
He
are you
is
trying to say?
timeless, though. He is
He's-
timeless. He is timeless.
Alex, that was a jab at us, Alex.
I think so.
I'm going to take a go at Egg Harbor.
Egg Harbor is incorrect. The correct answer is Belmar.
No
Belmar,
shot.
East Street and Belmar. So at the end of our second round, We have Alex in the lead with 2 points, Frank with 1, and Bill also with 1 point. So our last category is more random questions, just some fun facts about New Jersey. Frank, your question first. In New Jersey, we all know that pumping your own gas is not allowed. There is only one other state in the country where this is also the case. In what other state are self-service gas stations banned?
This is going to be a total random guess. So
Like 1 out of 49.
It's senseless to even try to talk this out. And I'm going to say Massachusetts.
Massachusetts is incorrect. Alex, 1 down.
I'm going to say, again, randomly, West Virginia.
West Virginia, also incorrect. Bill, put on that thinking cap.
Trying to think of all the states I drove through. Let's say Delaware.
Delaware, also incorrect. We're actually going West Coast. The correct answer is Oregon. Oregon. Interestingly, though, in April of 2019, they made a change somewhat to that law, and they're now allowing self-service gas pumps up to 25% of the pumps on site, as long as there's an attendant present. So maybe we'll see something like that happen in New Jersey.
Yeah,
Who knows?
I don't know how interesting that is, Jeff.
Yeah, it's a fun fact. Interesting, maybe not. Question 2, going to Alex. Paramus, New Jersey has the most shopping malls in one town in the world, with 7 shopping malls in 25 square mile radius. New Jersey, as a state, is also able to boast that it tops the charts in global numbers of something else. What does New Jersey have more of than any other place in the world?
I probably would have gotten the shopping malls one right, being that I'm an avid shopper.
Well-dressed man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I cannot imagine what other items we would boast that we have more of than
Than anywhere else in the world.
anywhere else.
Bill looks eager to answer. He's ready for this one. Not to put any more pressure on you.
I have no idea. I can't even guess. I'm going to pass
All
it
right,
on to Bill.
So we'll give him the X incorrect on that one. Bill?
Now I'm going to throw this out because I probably stopped at most of them. It's a diner.
Diners. Diners is correct.
Yep, that was it.
Makes sense.
So, Bill, you have just tied
Makes
it up
sense.
with Alex
Makes
with
sense.
2 points. And this is your question. So you have a chance to go for the win right here.
Sounds like a lot of pressure, Jeff.
A lot of pressure with
Yeah,
that
yeah.
with that Piscataway prize pack on the line.
Hey, if
that
it's
doesn't
a
actually
diner
exist.
question, I'm good.
Well, here we go. This is a tough one. You may know that there are a number of state symbols of New Jersey. For example, state bird is the eastern goldfinch. The state flower is the violet. There are also some more unusual state symbols, such as the state dinosaur, the hadrosaurus, and the state seashell, the knobbed whelk. Well, New Jersey also has an official state dance. What is it? So you thinking this one out? Maybe thinking about the dances that you see done in the hallways of Quibbletown Middle School? Which one is?
No, I'm going to go back a little bit further.
Okay.
We were close to Philly back in the, and there was a lot of great songs out of Philly and a lot of music out of that area. So I'm going to go with the twist.
The twist. The twist is incorrect. Not the official state dance. Frank, your chance to steal the official state dance of New Jersey.
Alex is smiling here like he knows. I don't know. I'm gonna have to take a guess. I'll go back a little even further than that. I'm gonna say the waltz.
The waltz. Another good guess, but unfortunately, also incorrect. Alex, state dance,
State dance.
and this is also for the win, I believe.
Yeah, this could be for the win. I doubt it, but it could be for the win.
This would be a great half-court shot right here for the
It
win
would be.
at the buzzer.
It would be. Let's say the cha-cha.
The cha-cha. I'm sorry, but no, that is also incorrect.
The tango.
The tango, no. The state dance, believe it or not, of New Jersey is the square dance. The square dance. I mean, we've all square danced, you know, at our high school proms, and you still see the kids doing this, right? The state dance, the square dance. So we'll all be square dancing after the show, I'm sure. Anybody have a final count on that one? I'm not sure. I think it's a tie between Alex and Bill as the winners of our New Jersey trivia. Congratulations, guys. Must be very
Thanks
proud.
very much, Dr. Gray. Well done.
Yeah, congratulations.
Looking for my prize pack in the mail.
Just keep waiting.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to thank you guys for joining us in the studio. Today was a lot of fun.
Hey, I just want to end with this. I want to thank you for bringing me in. It was a lot of fun being here. And I want to give that big shout out for Quibbletown. I love working at Quibbletown, the families, and all the students. Remember to stay gold. You gain in empathy, owning responsibilities, learning respectfully, and displaying kindness. So again, stay gold.
Thank you for having us here today, both Bill and myself. On behalf of MLK, thank you for this opportunity. And MLK School, where our students and staff remain poised, positive, and productive.
Thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate it. A lot goes into this during the month, so we could put on an entertaining and informative podcast, and you've added a tremendous amount to this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We also want to thank our listeners. And remember, if you have a question about our next topic, technology integration, you can submit your question to letsbefrank@pway.org. All questions must be submitted by Friday, April 3rd. Remember to follow @Piscataway Schools on Twitter or the Piscataway Schools Facebook page for updates on the show. And again, if you want to be part of the conversation, submit your questions on the topic technology integration to letsbefrank@pway.org by Friday, April 3rd. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts so you never miss an episode. Keep your eyes and ears out for our next Let's Be Frank. Let's Be Frank was recorded in the Piscataway High School radio studio. Thank you to Superintendent Frank Ranelli, Principals Alex Gray and William Gonzalez. Special thanks to Judy Palermo, Chris Aravando, and Christopher Novak. The episode was produced by Jeff Celebri and Rebecca Sterlacki. Listen to Let's Be Frank on Apple Podcasts or on our Let's Be Frank YouTube channel.